Donald Trump should dress up as Frankenstein's monster for Halloween because he's part Fred Trump, he's part Roy Cohn, and he's part Claude Hudspeth. I'm Stephanie Rivers, and you're watching my journal. His father, Fred, who was a real estate developer in New York City, owned apartment buildings but refused to rent to Puerto Rican and Black people. And like father, like son, when Donald Trump took over the business, he too refused to, he got sued by the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice for systematically excluding African Americans and Puerto Ricans from renting their apartments. Now, as much as Donald Trump likes money, you would think that he would consider the financial opportunity lost. In fact, let's look at some of the things that Donald Trump has tried to sell over the past year, and that's just to start with. Stand by. I'm Stephanie Rivers, and you're watching my journal. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first to know. Take a look at this recent video of Donald Trump selling things.
Electrocution every single time. Do we agree?
Hello, everyone. I have something incredible to share today. We are announcing the launch of Trump Coins.
It's a really beautiful coffee table book.
I'm doing my first official Donald J. Trump NFT collection right here and right now.
My new book, Save America, is now available for order.
By popular demand, I'm doing a new series of Trump digital trading cards. These cards show me dancing and even me holding some Bitcoins.
That's the real deal. That's the real deal.
My last two Trump digital trading card collections sold out in just hours. And now I'm back with my latest series called the Mugshot Edition.
Here it is. If you want to go out and get it, you can go out and get it. Have fun with it.
My new Trump watches. That's a lot of diamonds. I love gold. I love diamonds. We all do.
I think you all should get a copy of God Bless the USA Bible. Let's.
Now, those are just a few of the items that Donald Trump has tried to sell over the last year or so. But we can't forget, of course, there was Trump University, there were Trump Steaks, there was Trump Airlines. There's been so many things that he's tried to do. And that's why I call him the grifter. So if you haven't already, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first to know. And I am watching the chat. So if you want to talk to me about what we're talking about today, we're actually going to talk a little bit about our documented or undocumented workers, the foundation of America. That's what we're going to focus on today, because as we know, Donald Trump has said on his first day in office, if he is reelected, that he is going to undertake the deportation of about 11 million, what he says are undocumented workers throughout the United States. So if you didn't know, I was talking to you about how Donald Trump is much like a lot of people, one of them being his father. The second person that Donald Trump is a lot like is, in case you've ever wondered why Donald Trump never admits that he's wrong. He blames others for his failures and accuses everyone else of doing basically what he's guilty of, which is lying, cheating, and being unqualified to hold positions that they seek. Donald Trump is, he learned that art of deflection from a man named Roy Cohn. Roy Cohn served as the legal counsel for then President Richard Nixon, and he was once Trump's mentor. So he is a lot like Roy Cohn. And when it comes to immigrants along the southern border, Trump is a copycat of a man named Claude Hudspeth. Claude Hudspeth was a Texas state senator, and he also became a U.S. congressman representing Texas in the early 1900s, Hudspeth helped form the Border Patrol in 1924. Now, it was around that time that Hudspeth said more needed to be done to protect the border against undesirable immigrants from Mexico because they were not sending their best. Does that sound familiar? Now, Trump is such a Frankenstein's monster that he doesn't consider how a mass deportation would affect the United States and how that would hurt his reputation as a maestro of the economy, because everyone says that his economy would be so much better. Now, we'll look at the numbers in a minute, but first we're going to go towards his Madison Square Garden event that happened a few days ago. That was an example of how Trump will cut off his nose to spite his face, and talk about people, and when he, in the end, might need those people to support him. If you know anybody who was at the event, let me know, because I do know a few people who were there and they were not a part of, they didn't show the crowd. I don't know why, but at least what I've seen, they didn't show the crowd. But everyone, it seemed, was laughing and going along, but that was not the case according to the people I talked to who were there. Did Trump, you think, stop to consider that racist remarks about immigration in Puerto Rico and the 5 million Puerto Ricans who live on the mainland would be a turnoff to all Latinos, many who live in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, in New York, and Florida? And of course, Pennsylvania and Georgia are two of the swing states. And of course, Arizona always is in play as well. Or did he just do it on purpose? Did he instigate further chaos in the election process? Now, did you notice that Trump couldn't wait to tell us that he and the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, have a secret? It's like Trump always has to prove that he is the smartest person in the room, when we all know people like that, and we actually hate to be around those kind of people. But when it comes to immigration, according to a report by the Center for American Progress, deporting just 7 million immigrants, mostly low-wage earners, reduce the national employment similar to what we saw during the Great Recession. And it would shrink the U.S. economy by 6%. That equals to $1.6 trillion with a T. Now, let me ask you this question. Do you like fresh fruit and vegetables? Because half of all farmers are undocumented. If they get deported, supplies go down and the prices go up. So that would be bad for our economy. Do you eat fish, milk, or do you eat fish, meat, or poultry? If so, just know this: 25% of people who work at processing plants are undocumented. Does your family like dairy? Do your babies drink milk? Think it's already expensive? Well, get ready to pay double the current price if undocumented workers are deported. A few weeks ago, Donald Trump was asked what he would do to bring down the cost of childcare. And if you missed it, I'm going to play that for you, because that's going to lead me into the next thing that I want to talk about. Stand by while I bring it up again. Let's see. In the meantime, I'm going to be talking to you about Mother Jones. I don't know if you are familiar with Mother Jones magazine, but a lot of good information comes out of Mother Jones magazine. Let's look at I'm going to show you this response from Donald Trump when he was asked about child care and what he had to say about it. And really, it just shows me that he really might not have a clear understanding of how to connect all the dots in what he's proposing to do versus the results of what he's proposing to do. It's like he just says what sounds good when he's saying it. So let's take a look at this. Now, this is going to be what Donald Trump, his response to a question about child care.
And it'll be much better health care.
What the plan is?
Yeah, well, we'll be announcing that in about 2 months.
Can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And if so, what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would do that, and we're sitting down. I was somebody, we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue. But I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that, because look, child care is child care. It's couldn't.
Okay, so clearly, I could go on and show you the rest of the video, but he didn't answer the question. He basically skirted around the question. So I just wanted to start out with that because I wanted to bring you to this point that basically I could go on, but he didn't answer the question. Another time, Donald Trump was asked during a Flint, Michigan town hall meeting. He was asked about the cost of groceries and how he would reduce the cost of groceries. So let's look at how Donald Trump said he would reduce the cost of groceries. Now, it was a lady who said she was a mother, grandmother, and a great-grandmother. So take a look at this. And you might have seen it already, but this is just going to lead me into the information that I'm going to share with you about undocumented workers.
President Trump, thank you for taking our question.
Thank you.
My name is Barbara. I'm a mom of 3, a grandmother of 7, and 3 great-grands, a registered nurse, retired nurse. So I know the cost that goes into raising children and running a household.
Yeah.
People just can't survive now.
Attention retirees, if you're willing to
And
be
of
at your
course-
computer from 9 a.m. to 10:45 a.m.
So I'm back. There was a issue with the video, so it dropped off a bit. But we were looking at the video about the lady in Flint, Michigan, who was asking Donald Trump about the cost of groceries. And so he ended up talking with her. He tried to answer, or I don't know if he tried to answer the question, but he did not answer the question. He ended up saying, well, groceries, that's akin to energy. And here's what we need to do about energy. And so he started to go on when really it didn't have to be that difficult for him to answer, because if he just would have a simple plan that would explain to people what his platform is concerning their grocery bills, concerning their healthcare issues, concerning daycare. I really don't think that he understands exactly what it is that he wants to do, because primarily Donald Trump is just trying to stay out of jail. But here's what I wanted to talk with you about, because as I said, if you haven't, I'm familiar with, it's called Mother Jones. And they did an investigative report on what deporting 11 million people would actually do. And this is talking about how there are 350,000 undocumented immigrants who work in healthcare. There are 142,000 are child care workers, personal care aides, and home health aides. And on top of that, there are more than 160,000 undocumented workers who are employed as cleaners and housekeepers. So if your friends have housekeepers, or if you if you frequent hotels, or you're a traveler, you do business, the people that you see in the hallway with the carts that are cleaning the rooms, those are probably undocumented workers. So if those people, including the daycare workers, the personal care aides, if all these people are deported, then how is Donald Trump going to help your daycare costs go down? Because he just deported the people who are taking care of the kids. Okay. What about construction, Stephanie? I'm glad you asked. 1 in 5 undocumented workers, that would be 1.4 million people, are employed in construction. That's more than 10% of the entire labor force. 32% are roofers. Now, I live in Texas, and I can honestly say I've never seen a roofer who was not a Latino. Okay. I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there who are roofers who are not Latino, but every time I look on a roof and it's being done by somebody who looks like Latino. So yeah, I can believe that. Now, it's also talking about how if you deport all of these people who are working in these industries, helping to build things, helping to take care of things, they said that a $300,000 house might then cost anywhere from $40,000 to $45,000 more, because you just deported everybody who does the work, and then that means it takes longer and takes more money to complete the work. So again, the economy would be more expensive for Americans if 11 million undocumented workers are deported. Now, speaking of money, this is talking about the amount of money that undocumented workers actually pay into our system. For Social Security, unauthorized workers pay $13 billion a year, that's with a B, into Social Security through payroll tax deductions, even though they're not eligible to get the benefits. As far as just taxes, in 2022, undocumented households paid $35 billion in taxes, that's with a B, for federal, state, and local taxes. So that's money that's being put into our economy that the people who were putting it in don't have, are not eligible to get it out. So that's something to consider as well. So I think that it's important for us in America, and especially our politicians who are making these laws and these rules, to stop blaming immigrants for what is wrong with America and to look in the mirror. And in fact, this issue of Mother Jones was very good. They did an investigative report on the ramifications of deportation, mass deportation, as well as they looked into the border patrol and what that entailed. And it turns out that Donald Trump's fixation on deportation when he was president in 2017, it caused a rush on hiring at the Customs and Border Patrol and agents there, because they needed a whole lot more people. So that meant lax hiring standards that turned out to be weak background checks and weak entrance exams. and it meant that they waived mandatory polygraph tests that more than half of the recruits were failing at the time. And so there, it turns out, has been a rise in illegal activity right now as a result of them hiring people who should never have been hired. There's been a rise in illegal activity at the border by customs agents, not by the people that they are supposed to be keeping out, by border and customs agents. And those crimes include collusion with drug cartels, it includes unjustified assaults and deadly force against immigrants trying to cross over the border. And it includes assault against female customs agents. In fact, in this same edition, they talked about a customs agent who was in training, and apparently one of the agents that was over her training allegedly raped her, and she was so afraid to come forward that she never really pressed charges. So these are the things that are going on at a lot of these border areas, and so customs agents have gone as far as and have been accused of and tried for even the murder of potential witnesses against them. Because again, if they're colluding with, drug cartels, or they're doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, then they don't want to get caught doing that. I think they said one customs agent, and it was, you can read it yourself, the September-October issue of Mother Jones magazine, went as far as he assaulted 2 or 3 immigrants who were trying to come over the border. And when he got caught, he ended up shooting himself, shooting himself. Okay. So, yeah, just because he was so ashamed of what he had done, when the shame should have started before he did what he did. So, again, political leaders should consider the scope of their decisions before they make those decisions. Donald Trump is in politics, but he's not a leader. Okay. In fact, he's a hypocrite. And I'll end with this part. Donald Trump met his current wife, Melania, while she was working as a party girl, I'll call her that, to one of Trump's wealthy friends. She had come over to the United States with a group of other party girls, and ended up meeting Trump. And then subsequently, she applied for a visa, and that's how her story went. And then her parents, or at least her mom, got the visa, and they got married, and the rest. Okay. Now, here's somebody who has his nerve being up in front of people talking about what should and shouldn't happen. And he's not even an American citizen. He's just working in the United States. I'm not sure. Let me look up his status right fast. I'm talking about Elon Musk. We know he is the owner of the Tesla, and he sells cyber trucks, and he also has started, okay, he became a U.S. citizen. Okay, so finally, I think it said after around 1995, Elon Musk became a U.S. citizen. So, of course, we know he was born in South Africa to a family that got their money harvesting diamonds, okay? And so we know as far back when he was born in 1970 something, that was under the apartheid system. And so he grew up in a system just like the Jim Crow civil rights era of the United States, where people of a certain race were seen as inferior to people of another race. And so that's how he grew up. So he's used to putting himself and his family and their money above people who don't look like him and who don't have the money that he has. Okay. He left South Africa because he was avoiding going to the military. He moved to Canada because his mother was Canadian initially, and so he used her original Canadian status to go to Canada to avoid the military. Okay, and then at some point he came to the United States to go to Stanford University, and he was on an education visa. And then he quit Stanford, dropped out of Stanford to become an entrepreneur. So between the time that he dropped out of Stanford and became officially a U.S. citizen, he was an undocumented person in the United States. He was here not on the status that he was supposed to be. And then he stayed here, started a company. His brother and he got together, started getting investors. And it was at that time that the investors realized that Elon, and maybe his brother, but I'm talking about Elon was not a legitimate U.S. citizen, didn't have the proper documentation to be here. And they told him, our investment money is contingent upon you getting your status where it's supposed to be. And that that made Elon say, okay, I'm gonna get my status right. So he's standing up in front of people talking about what should and shouldn't happen to documented or undocumented people, or standing alongside Donald Trump, who's always talking about undocumented people and how bad they are, and they're the worst, and they're our enemies, and they're what is that term? They are diluting the blood pool and all of these negative things. But Elon Musk used to be one of those people. And so it just I don't understand how someone could want harm to come to, or propose that we don't need these certain people in our country. But the person that you're taking money from, the person that's standing up for you, used to be one of those people, but you don't have a problem with that. At least you didn't tell us. It wasn't as if you came forward and said, look, Elon could have said, I used to be undocumented. This is what happened. He never said that. It only came out because his brother was the person who said what was going on and how it came to be that Elon Musk was an undocumented worker in the United States. So, yeah, I don't know if you know that, but everything I'm telling you is can be researched. You can do your own research, but I just find that hypocritical, at least. But here's what I want to leave you with, that although I'm sure we all understand that, and we all want for illegal immigration to be less of an issue and less, excuse me, less of a drain on our system, on our healthcare system, on our schools, on our roads, on all that we have to pay for in taxes. But undocumented workers, they pay taxes. They pay taxes, and they pay into systems that they can't take advantage of. And so I'm sure at some point they wish that if they could become legal, if they could get their documents in order, I'm sure they would do that, because nobody wants to pay into a system that they can't benefit from except for their own labor. At some point, we as Americans don't want to have to go to work every day. We want for our labor and to pay back take care of us like we have taken care and paid into the system. Undocumented workers can't do that. And so, not that I'm not here to advocate for any particular people. I'm just saying we have to look at the whole equation before we start saying, yeah, let's throw certain people out, because if they are the foundation, if they keep America going, if they're working the jobs that we don't want to work, then we have to consider what would happen if we snatch that foundation out from under us. And there are lots of economists who say it wouldn't take but 10 years or so before we would certainly feel the devastation of what would happen if we removed undocumented workers from the equation, the American economy. So if you want to follow me, you can do that on Facebook, IG, and the place formerly known as Twitter. Although I might take that off because, I'm gonna stop doing any promotion of that platform as well. So hopefully I will remember to do that. So many things to be done, but in the meantime, be sure that you go and vote. If you haven't early voted already, be sure to get out there on election day, and we'll see what happens. But whatever happens, keep your head on a swivel, like my mother always told me, and stay ready. She don't have to get ready. To find out more about the things that I care about, you can go to the written version of my journal. That's at eurweb.com. Thank you so much and have a super day.